is the year 265 BC. The Etruscan League has been pushed out of the province of Italia by upcoming Roman power and have retreated to the island of Eulalia, where they were left alone by the Romans as they did not hold any interest in the province of Corsica as Sardinia. And the Etruscan League did not have any more standing armies or navies at that time. All was about to change in the year 258 BC, on a foggy and snowy morning in August. Admiral Publius Laenas and a small fleet of nearly 760 sailors were patrolling the Mara Tyrrhenum for pirates. And with success, several of his hestadi on the firepot bareems had lost their lives defending the trade route from Rome. But in the year 258 BC, on that snowy and foggy morning in August, all was about to change. A deckhand rushed into the admiral's quarter, yelling that they saw the Etruscan League flags on the horizon. When Laenas asked how many, he did not get an answer he was hoping for. The deckhand answered with 19. Several navy forces in transport of a force nearly 2,000 men strong is heading toward Rome. For a second Laenas thought, but he knew what had to be done. Legio Mars was currently facing barbarians in the north, and Legio Minerva was defending the city of Brundisium versus the treacherous faction of Epirus, leaving only a garrison force defending the city of Rome. And the only army that stood in the way of the Etruscan League was his 760 sailors. He knew what had to be done, and thus he sailed towards the Etruscan League's navy, escorting the transport. He knew with Neptune's blessing that he would seize the day. And thus he set out to do his bloody business, battle. General Laenas set up his raiding Hemolias to the flanks, allowing them to fire upon the enemy, whilst sending his firepot bareems through the middle to create a spearhead of firepots to blast into the enemy ships and transports. His target, the enemy transports. But the enemy navy were no fools. They stopped the raiding Hemolias reaching the transports, and thus killing off the first firepot bareem while it blasted into the enemy raiding Hemolia. It was quickly overwhelmed by the javelins that are being fired upon the ship. But not all was lost. The first transport has been taken down by one of the firepot bareems while it crashed into another raiding Hemolia, creating havoc on the ship. But the javelins fired from their enemy raiding Hemolias caused a lot of chaos on the ships. Ships caught fire, men got burned. And while the spearhead worked in the beginning, the ships were stuck in the enemy transports. It took time before enemy ships realized what was going on. But the spearhead worked, they sunk transports, but because they were stuck, they could not get out of there in time. A lot of men burned alive, while more firepots crashed into the enemy ships, ramming and destroying most of them. The left flank has been sunk completely. Only two raiding Hemolias left with a firepot bareem with only half its crew. Half its crew were killed off by enemy javelin fire, while the general's ship was stuck in the middle of all the transports. It tried to make way, but the fire tower kept firing, and so did the enemy raiding Hemolias. They set fire to several firepot ships, but the right flank, it was successful. They sank several transport and now luring away the enemy cavalry, which of course could do nothing on his transport. But the enemy saw the general's ship. They set it and struck it down. By javelin fire and by ramming, the general's ship with each minute became weaker and weaker, his men trying to board other ships to flee the fire madness that was setting ablaze the entire ship. But the Admiral Laenas was no fool. He fighted off several border parties and boarded several other ships himself, while his right flank was luring one enemy transport into a trap, and soon that transport would meet the sea of cold Neptune himself. But only a few ships still remained loyal. A lot had fled or had perished into the sea. While the right flank being secured, the left flank has been utterly destroyed, leaving only one firepot marine, which tried to turn and quickly get away to get into reinforcements range. But with the left flank coming to help the middle, what they saw was horrifying. They saw the Admiral's ship sank to the bottom of the sea to greet Neptune himself. But the men fought on bravely. They knew they had to stop as much enemies as possible, even if that would cost their own lives. And thus they fought on. They sank another transport, but it was all too much. There were too many enemy ships, too many enemy navy, too many enemy transports, too many javelins, and another unit sank to the bottom of the sea. While the right flank firmly secure, the men were scared, the men were afraid. They didn't want to die. They didn't want to die defending their country. They wanted victory. But not every day. Romans are victorious. And thus the two enemy ships trying desperately to do as much damage as possible. The firepot marine managed to still ram the enemy transport, but it was not enough. No, not yet. The enemy transports were firmly built. It was needed more ramming before it would sink into the sea. But the firepot mariners had to watch out because still enemy navy ships were sailing, and they were faster than the firepot mariners. While the raiding Himalaya tried to make a turn so the firepot marine could ram. It worked, and the firepot marine rammed the enemy transport, but still not dealing enough damage in order to sink it. While with all the might and all their strength they had left, they managed to make a turn while they saw their last firepot marine men jumping into the water, and they rammed the last transport, killing off an entire squad of spearmen before they met their own end. While they tried to get away desperately, fleeing this madness of a battle, it was all in vain. They made a turn and got rammed to the side, killing off the entire unit. But not everything was in vain. General Laenas and his men managed to kill off 1,529 men and kill off 14 enemy ships, thus crippling the Etruscan League assault on Rome, and they would never be a threat again. After the Senate had heard of this valiant defeat of Admiral Laenas, they sent out Legio Mars to deal with the Etruscan League problem on the island of Alalia, and soon the Etruscan League would be no more. But Admiral Publius Laenas and his men will never be forgotten. Not by Rome, not by the Senate, not by the people. And that was the story of Admiral Publius Laenas and his men. If you enjoyed it, please let me know, and if you did not enjoy it, of course let me know as well. I'm still figuring out if I should continue with this series. I have a lot of more cool battles planned and already recorded. Just need to voice over them and narrate them. So please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, of course. And with luck, more will follow. More epic battles of epic admirals, epic generals, and epic soldiers. So I want to thank you for watching. This has been Korpah, and remember, game on. Remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Click the right annotation to go to the next episode once it is released. Click the annotation in the middle to go to a video you might enjoy. And remember to follow me on Google+, as it will help me establish my own brand. Follow me on Twitter for all announcements and my thoughts on things. And join me on Facebook, as it is the place where all social media of mine comes together.